this is a guy who, from the time he got into the league until 2020, was in the NBA Finals 10 times. And the last 6 years, since 2020, he's been in the NBA Finals 0 times. That is a huge swing. 10 times in 17 years, and then 0 times in the last 5 or 6 years. That is a big difference. And to know that for the bulk of your career, the NBA Finals were almost the LeBron James Invitational, and then you were just out of it.
LeBron James has made a move that his critics are describing as the ultimate confession. They believe he needs a loaded roster, a favorable Eastern Conference, and the perfect situation if he wants another shot at winning a championship. And Rachel Nichols has now brought attention to the biggest questions surrounding LeBron's decision. She didn't directly go after him, but she raised an issue that every basketball fan should be watching closely. Why Philadelphia? Why make this move now? And why does LeBron suddenly appear so determined to compete for another championship after spending years saying that his happiness and family came before basketball?
Well, I was as surprised as I think everyone else was. I thought Philadelphia was kind of in last place of the options that he was looking at. And I think either it's going to work spectacularly or it's going to be a failure. I'm not sure there's a ton of room in the middle, but we'll find out. I applaud him knowing what he wanted and going after it. I don't know how much buy-in he has from everybody else on that roster.
Rachel Nichols highlighted one of the most eye-opening statistics in this entire conversation. From the start of LeBron James' career through 2020, he made the NBA Finals an incredible 10 times. Reaching the finals in 10 of his first 17 seasons is an unbelievable level of consistency. But since 2020, LeBron has not returned to the finals even once. That isn't just a minor drop-off. It represents a dramatic shift. For almost 20 years, the NBA Finals were practically associated with LeBron James. Whether fans supported him or criticized him, everyone expected to see him competing on that stage. He was the player standing between everyone else and a championship. Then, suddenly, that expectation vanished. And according to this argument, the biggest factor wasn't simply LeBron getting older. It was the changing conference landscape, tougher competition, and eventually reaching a point where he no longer had complete control over his team.
I am much more interested in what the conversations with Jaylen Brown were, first of all, on the way into Philly, and maybe it was just when the trade happened with Boston, hey, we are going to extend you, and that was enough. And the fact that he would have these two guards, young guards, and Joel, and that all felt good to him. Now that LeBron's there, and it's going to be just a different level of oxygen for everybody involved. I believe that LeBron is going into this level of sacrifice with his eyes wide open, but everybody has to.
Now take a look at the situation in Philadelphia. On paper, it looks like exactly the type of setup LeBron James would want if his main goal is to compete for another championship. There's Joel Embiid, assuming he can remain healthy. Then you have Tyrese Maxey, a young star who has already proven himself as one of the league's most dangerous guards. You also have VJ Edgecombe, an exciting young talent who could bring defense, athleticism, and versatility to the lineup. And now LeBron James could be stepping right into the middle of that group. This isn't a rebuilding project. LeBron wouldn't be taking a team full of inexperienced players and trying to build them into contenders from scratch. Instead, he would be joining an organization that already has several major pieces in place.
Did it surprise you that he prioritized winning another championship? Because he used that word in his statement, winning a championship, bringing a championship to Philadelphia. Like, there were a lot of potential reasons that he could have made a decision. He could have made a decision based on family, stayed on the West Coast, gone to Golden State, nostalgia, go back to Cleveland, even to Miami. But he seemed to make this purely for basketball reasons. It was not, as he wrote, about his family. It was not about money, 2-year, $8 million deal. I do love there's a 15% trade kicker in there.
Yeah, you know.
Like, just to make sure, in case you decide to trade me,
I will get
I'm
a
going to
little
get
money.
600 grand.
I will get a little money
because,
because, that's 600 grand. I'm a billionaire, but that 600 grand will really mean something.
And this is exactly where the ring-chasing criticism becomes difficult to dismiss. LeBron's critics will argue that he isn't simply searching for another chance to compete for a championship, he's searching for the most favorable situation possible. Those are two very different things. At this point in his career, nobody should realistically expect LeBron to carry an entire team the way he did during his prime. At 41 years old, expecting him to dominate a full season like the version of LeBron who was collecting MVP awards would be unrealistic. However, when you've built a career around being considered one of the greatest players ever, the expectations are naturally going to be different. And if LeBron willingly chooses to join a roster that already features several elite-level players because he believes that situation gives him the best chance to win another championship, critics are inevitably going to label it as ring chasing.
And in Philly, at least, if it works, again, if it works, they have the chance to be a huge powerhouse. If he had gone to the Warriors, that would have been very clearly about like, hey man, it is fun to be an NBA player. It is fun to be LeBron James. I'm going to hang out, play golf every day with Steph Curry because I now love golf. I'm going to drink with Draymond because we live near Napa now. And I'm going to be 45-minute flight from my family. And this is the way to do it. I've earned this. And I would have understand that too. And it would have been fun playing for Steve Kerr, who he loved playing for at the Olympics. That I would have gotten. This I get. The actual Cleveland and Miami, I would have certainly understood the storyline, but I don't think it would have led him to as much happiness.
Rachel Nichols also highlighted what could become the defining storyline of this entire experiment, Jaylen Brown's willingness to embrace it. And that's where things get especially intriguing. Nichols questioned whether Brown would be completely comfortable with LeBron James arriving in Philadelphia and potentially changing the team's existing hierarchy. That's a completely reasonable question. Whenever a superstar like LeBron enters a new locker room, the entire dynamic can shift. The offensive system changes, the locker room atmosphere changes, the media spotlight becomes bigger, and the expectations rise dramatically. Suddenly, every player has to figure out how they will fit alongside one of the most influential and accomplished players in NBA history.
I was at the Paris Olympics, and one of the things that really struck me that he said after they won was it felt really great to play for something again. And he said it again when he got back and gave his introductory press conference for his first time back with the Lakers after winning the gold medal. He said it his second time. Felt really great.
If Jaylen Brown fully buys into LeBron's arrival, Philadelphia could become extremely dangerous. But if tension develops, the entire experiment could fall apart. And if the Sixers fail, everyone will search for someone to blame. Embiid's health, Maxey, Brown, Edgecombe, or even Nick Nurse could take criticism. Eventually, though, the responsibility will return to LeBron. He chose Philadelphia, this roster, this conference, and this championship window. He cannot claim he simply ended up in a bad situation. Unlike some previous moves, LeBron is choosing Philadelphia because he believes it offers a great chance to win. That makes the pressure enormous. Cleveland offered nostalgia, Miami offered history, and Golden State offered the possibility of joining Stephen Curry. Philadelphia, however, is primarily about winning. LeBron is surrounding himself with talented players for one more championship push. That is why critics question whether this is really about happiness and family. The situation became even more complicated after Luka Doncic became the Lakers' future centerpiece. Suddenly, LeBron was no longer the unquestioned face of the franchise. The Lakers had a younger superstar they could build around for years. So Philadelphia gives LeBron another team where he can still make a major impact. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, and VJ Edgecombe give him plenty of talent around him. But LeBron cannot have it both ways. If he wants GOAT status, championships will continue to matter. The next 2 seasons could become crucial for his legacy. 1 championship would make the move look brilliant, while 2 could make it legendary. But if Philadelphia wins nothing, the criticism will be relentless. Every injury, playoff loss, and bad performance would become part of the conversation. Critics would say LeBron chose the easier path to winning and still failed. That is why LeBron must accept a different role at this stage of his career. He cannot play like he is 27 years old or control every possession. Embiid may need to be the offensive centerpiece, while Maxey and Brown remain aggressive. LeBron's biggest responsibility could be connecting all the pieces together. But having LeBron also means constant media attention and enormous expectations. Every loss will become a LeBron story, and every teammate's mistake will be analyzed. The Eastern Conference could also give him a more manageable path to another finals appearance. At 41, LeBron knows his championship window is closing quickly. The real question is whether he can sacrifice control and trust the younger stars around him. If he succeeds, Philadelphia could become another major chapter in his legacy. If he fails, the ring-chasing criticism could follow him all the way into retirement.